If you're wondering how to add more RPM to your forehands and backhands, this is the video for you. So let's get right into it. The most important part to create more topspin, or RPM in this case, which stands for rotations per minute, on your forehands and backhands is your wrist. So that secret lies within your wrist whenever you're hitting. Now what I mean by that, we're not trying to get our racket to move up faster by making our arm going up faster. Instead, if we want to create more topspin, we should focus more on our backswing. And during that backswing, we want to build up as much tension in our wrist as we can. Now let me explain what I mean by tension. If we're taking our racket back, we're doing our backswing, I'm going to show you in an open stance now, but the same thing applies to a closed stance. And I do my backswing here. I don't want my backswing to be like this because, as you can see, my wrist is completely straight here. There's no tension in my wrist whatsoever. This is where patting the dog comes into play, for example, right? That already creates more tension because, as you can see, if I get into this position where my racket points straight down, my wrist is already more at an angle. If I want more topspin, I need this angle to intensify, and I need more tension in my forearm and wrist on the backswing. So this, for example, already creates much more topspin, right? The further I bend back my wrist and the further I rotate my forearm backwards like this, the more topspin I will be able to create. Now this doesn't only happen on the backswing itself, it also happens more in the beginning of our swing, because if we are rotating our upper body correctly, it will create more tension here. But for that, we need to be loose enough in our wrist to make sure that that tension can actually intensify in our wrist. Okay? So try to make sure that on every single forehand where you're trying to create heavy topspin, you actually let that wrist and that forearm twist back as much as you can so you feel tension and you feel tightness all over your arm and shoulder. So then when you swing, that intensifies and the racket gets swung out forward and up. And why does that create more topspin? Because the more tension we have this way, the more of that tension wants to resolve throughout our shot. So if we're turning our shoulders here, we're using our upper body rotation, the racket is heavy in our hand, intensifying that tension because the racket will move last. And once the tension is unbearable for the arm, once the tension becomes too big, the arm wants to go back into its natural state, which means it wants to undo all this tension, all this twist, right? And the undoing of that twist, you can already guess what's going to happen here, is going to look like this, right? This is our topspin motion. So we're not trying to actively push up our arm or our wrist through the contact point, but instead we're trying to build up as much tension in the opposite direction of our swing as possible, so that then when we're rotating, that release of that tension creates our spin motion. Now the same thing goes for the backhand as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. It's just the other way around. So if we're taking our backhand here and we want to create extra topspin, we need that right wrist to bend this way. The more we do that on the backswing, the more it's going to undo itself during the swing, and the faster it will undo itself, and the more topspin we can actually create. So again, it's the same thing there. We're trying to rotate our upper body, and when we do that fast enough, this tension will come undone and create the spin for us. So we don't have to actually try to push up on the ball to create more topspin, but instead we need to create more tension on the backswing and let the body do its magic and actually swing upwards through the ball naturally.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.